that's really important, you know? You don't hopefully time it perfectly.
I hope that this video is somehow helpful. Not actually to me, but the fact I know that I'm only one of millions and millions and millions of people in the world that are just like me, actually. They don't have necessarily the resources that I have in my heart or my purse, for that matter. I was able to escape my country and escape stigma.
Can you just look in the second row? Other way left.
I want to play a little bit of that video and ask you to comment on it.
I just can't understand how a person can be left so alone, and I want everyone to see what it's like. It's why I'm making this video. All the people who are supposed to be loving you and taking care of you are treating you like
Who are the people that won't take care of you? Are you talking about your family?
Yeah, and obviously I want to be really clever because, like, I love my family and I don't blame them. It's not easy for families of mentally ill people. We can be difficult. What happened was I had been writing to my family, begging letters, you know, and angry letters and raging. And I don't want to make out like I'm a victim here. I give it as good as I get. I was an ass to my family. I thought it would be better. Maybe my family might, if they saw how I'm feeling, they would relate to it.
you don't even care.
I hoped in my kidney stone madness that my family would see it and go, oh my God, we didn't realise it's that bad, we'll go get her. Do you know
Did they
what I mean?
watch?
No.
How do you know?
One of them told me, yeah. I rang one of the fathers of my children, who happened to be 5 miles away from me in New York at the time, and had my 10-year-old child and didn't bring him to see me.
Are you mentally ill?
I don't believe I am, no. Unless you say that complex post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental illness. I've had a psychiatrist, one psychiatrist told me I'm the sanest person he's ever met, which of course everyone laughs at when I say that. Musicians are always a little on the edge. We're somewhere out there. Also, I'm a child abuse survivor, very severe child abuse survivor, so, you know, I'm a little out there. I'm unusual, irregular, eccentric. What kicked all of this off really was that I had a hysterectomy, a radical hysterectomy in Ireland 2 years ago, and I lost my mind after that. And that's, I think, what happened with my family, and we have to give my family credit, and you know, they're not here to speak for themselves, so I don't want to disrespect them, but the fact is, they didn't know who the hell I was. I was told to leave the hospital 2 days after the surgery with Tylenol and no hormone replacement, and no guidance as to what might happen to me. I was flung into surgical menopause. So hormones were everywhere. I became very suicidal. I was a basket case. So yeah, I would say that after the hysterectomy, I was mental.
When we talked on the phone, you told me that you tried to kill yourself 8 times.
I know, I counted up the times in my life that I've tried to.
In 1 year. Why?
Because they left me. They left me and they wouldn't let me see my child. His father, who never bothered with the child, snuck him into foster care behind my back while I was in hospital trying to recover from being bonkers.
And so off he goes into foster care.
My family, they all left the child there for 6 months. Of course, I lost the plot, raging, angry. And anger was part of the suicidal feeling, and also was the grief and unfairness, and I can't get hurt unless I'm dead in front of them, blah, 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 you know. But that's what it was really about. That's what made me lose my absolute mind, was that they kept me from my most vulnerable child. Also, in some of my abuse as a child, my mother quite regularly was attempting to destroy my reproductive system. So the surgery was very triggering. The music business is a corrupt, a spiritually corrupt arena. It's full of nothing but vampires and pimps, honestly. And you couldn't understand it unless you were in it. And the only way to survive it is love music. So I've known it all along. But I think what was more important, really, that came out of the Miley thing was this issue of being able to now conversate about, you know, how mental health and human rights is now. So I think she was actually very helpful. I think the two of us, without meaning to, did quite a good job in terms of creating a conversation about something really, really important. You know?
So you mentioned you're so outspoken about the way that we talk about mental illness. And how do you feel that your message is being received by people?
Well, it's not a question of my message. I think it's a general world message now. My particular grief, if you like, is with the media in particular. That I think how the media discuss and portray and diagnose, indeed, without qualification, mental health or mental illness is a human rights issue. I'll give you just one example. There's a dreadful practice going on in this country at the moment, which is a complete breach of human and civil rights. Paparazzi lynching is what I call it. Young celebrities, young female celebrities, whether it's Britney or Amanda Bynes or Lindsay Lohan or anyone who has either been diagnosed with an illness or is perceived by people to have a mental illness, lynching them in the streets, trying to get photos of them looking like they're having breakdowns, taking these pictures, selling them for tons of money in the newspapers, with derogatory words written under them about mental illness and about these women, and making a buffoonery and a mockery of them. Now that's obviously extremely wounding and dangerous for those young women, because it doesn't stay on the page or stay on the screen. It translates down into how people treat you in your life. Unfortunately, there's such a stigma about mental illness or perceived mental illness that people are bullied and treated like frankly, and the illnesses are used as something with which to beat people in a manner that a physical illness wouldn't be. You couldn't go lynching with paparazzi girls who had broken legs and start writing about, you know, aren't these dreadful, awful people, let's have a great laugh at them because they have a broken leg.
So what's the role of religion in your life today?
I am interested in the study of all religions. I've always been interested in studying religion, but I see religion and God as two separate things. So I guess I see music as a priesthood, that would be how I relate to, you know, what's the way to put it? I would have a very strong relationship with what I prefer to call the Holy Spirit, because it lifts it from any particular religion.
What do you think of the new Pope?
I'm not interested so much in all of that anymore, because the appropriate thing took place, which was that the other guy resigned. So I don't really have to take any more interest in it. As far as I know, the new dude has nothing to do with covering up very important things, so I don't concern myself.